All right, so topic one is all about setting the right pathway. So you're in control of your business. So thanks, Liam. And, I'm just going to go through a model. So I'm very big on, when we build a business plan or some sort of strategy, and I know definitely Mark and I are on the same page of this. The first thing we think about is who is our customer. So everything we do, we want to point to our customers, because let's face it, without customers, we don't have a business. They're the ones that actually keep us in business. And so, when I look at a business model, I really love this customer centricity model, and we're a part of market culture. But as you'll see, you can see in the green there, customer insight. So this is all about, what does your customers want today? What is the market? What is, all your products and services, are you delivering to what customers want today? And then, having that ability to have that foresight, what would our customers want tomorrow? And can I just say, this pandemic has been a really good indication of how businesses have just got to change. So for those companies out there that had, insight and then with very little foresight of trying to change, we're all forced to change. We're all forced to go into different pathways, because not having that face-to-face anymore. And this is a really good example of going from face-to-face training into online. So we're all been out there having that foresight of what we need to do to try and stay in business. But I think it's all part of your planning. So basically for me, customer insight, what do our customers want today? And then what might our customers want tomorrow? We also should look at some of our competitors. So what are our competitors doing really, really well? And I know we all do that as businesses, because what we do as businesses, we look at what people do and think, well, that's a good idea. We might just copy and paste a bit of that and make it our own. And what about foresight? What they do to try and take more market share? The best example I can give you of that is Uber. So if you think about Uber came along, upset the taxi industry. There were riots. There were people at Parliament Station, at the Melbourne Airport, complaining that it was unfair that this company of Uber just popped up. So it's not, if you don't have foresight in your business, then that really makes it a bit challenging. If you have a look at in the purple there, you'll see the peripheral vision. Well, we have no control of who wins an election, or interest rates rising and falling. That's a thing that we need to actually work with. But having that peripheral vision, who would think that would be in a 18-month pandemic where we're opening and closing our states with what's going on right now? So that is something we can't really control, but it's something we need to try and keep our eye on. For me, what's really big and really important is, if you put together my strategy around customer insight, foresight, our competitor insight, foresight, and we look at the peripheral vision that's going out there, what is our strategic alignment on how we're going to stay in business? How are we going to move forward, especially through times that we're in right now? More importantly, how are we going to get our team to collaborate with us in the direction that we want to go? And one of the things that we've seen in our business is companies that need to change have been forced to change during these tough times, and then some of the staff not wanting to change. So that's been pretty challenging, and maybe it's just the way it's been delivered or the lack of understanding. And the big one is empowerment. How do you empower your team to actually follow the pathway of where you want to go down? So what is really important is, when we sit back and have a look, having customer centricity in our business, we don't want to lose sight of that's who we need to market our whole business to, and how we've got to have our whole strategy towards. Yeah. And if you look at the next slide, thanks, Liam, what you will see is the benefits of having a real customer focus in your business. So a lot of companies that we've seen over the time that have been focused on how do I make money, one of the conversations is, well, it's great, but how do you give your customer a good experience? Because let's start with that, because that's going to help you make money. So if we do all these things, it ticks the boxes, as you can see, that customer satisfaction, that innovation, the new product success, profitability, and that sales revenue. So I think it's really important, when we're setting up and creating some sort of plan, how do we, if I could say, onboard new clients but keep and grow our existing clients, which is what builds a business. And I think having a really good customer-centric focus is really, really important.
Colin,
thanks, Liam. Yep.
Colin, just on that, I mean, you've touched on a really good point, not only about clients, but also team, where most of us are working all remotely. So we're not used to that. And it's interesting to hear that there's some areas or some organizations are having resistance for people to adapt, because not only for the business owners and for the employees, we've all been sort of put into this new social experiment, if I could coin that term, and working remotely. And so some of those issues you're seeing with resistance, how are you overcoming them?
I think, well, for a start, communication, and that's a bit later on down in the slides. I think if I grabbed Alison to jump in right now with me on this, but if you think about all the calls that have come through our business, all the HR calls, with disgruntled employees and stuff like that, I think the number one thing has been communication. Would that be right, Alison?
100%. It's all about the communication, and I think no longer can employers say that they can't have staff working from home, because the last 18 months has proven that staff can work from home and the productivity did not go down. But the key thing, as Colin said, is communication. And the more open and honest the business is with its employees, the more receptive they're going to be to the message that they're receiving as well. So you've got to be able to have those conversations. They're not easy to have, but those conversations are needed, because otherwise it's just not going to work.
I think right now, like, a recent article I released, we have to have a hybrid business model now. That's, and we've had clients that are resistant, where they've made calls to us saying, I don't trust my staff, they're working home, but they're not working. But again, it comes back to the communication. And if I could sit back, and this was brought up in a webinar I actually did with Mark, probably 6 months ago in February, what we found is in Key Business Advisors was the clients that we have that have really got strong mission, vision and values and a good culture in their business, the staff are very, very adaptable. For the clients that had, I guess, I'll use the word misalignment, or not 100% on board, then that's where there was a bit disgruntled. I think the other thing too is, we need to think we're all humans. We've got to look at some staff happy at working home, others are not. I know I'm certainly not one that loves to work at home. I know Alison's not one that loves to work from home either, right? We really struggle with that. So it's becoming adaptable. But, one of the things that we did, and also I know you guys did, is, every month last year during that pandemic, and you recently just sent something out to your staff, is, we sent balloons, flowers, gift vouchers, cakes, to our staff at home, just thanking them for keeping us in business, So I think, a bit of appreciation is really, really important. Yeah, but I think, you're 100% right, Michael. It is making sure that communication is the key. Yep.
Yeah. And you don't have that ability to do that face-to-face appreciation that you would normally do. So you've got to sort of look outside the square, and it doesn't have to be huge. I think, a small gesture and a small token or care pack or whatever it might be can really put a smile on the faces of your team. So if those are the sort of things that you can incorporate, then it'll hopefully get that alignment. So
yeah, I think the other thing too, and if we go to our next slide, I'll bring this into the next slide. It's a bit about how you as a director, a leader of your company, approaches these situations. So if I can just rewind the clock a little bit, like if you have a look at this business model, are you a company that's emerging? And there's some people that are in on this that have registered for this session today, that they're in a startup mode, so they're emerging businesses coming through, so they've got strategy, now they've just got to get it going. Are you a business that's growing? Now, I don't think any business, we all hit the wall. We like that pelican in that movie Nemo that just hit that window and went splat, so we've got to work out, well, how do we keep growing? But more importantly, I think the one down in the dark blue is changing. So have we had to change our business model to actually stay in business? And if we don't change, then obviously what happens is we'll start to exit. But I think, if we talk about leadership, and that's something I'm going to talk about a bit later on in this presentation, but Michael, one of the things that happened during the pandemic is our staff came to Lorraine and I to say, we can cut down to 4 days a week, we can cut down to 3 days a week. And one of the things that went through my head is, these guys have got mortgages, these guys have got, their own commitments. How can we stay in business? What can we do to try and keep them in a situation where they're not disadvantaged? Now, I know this might be hard for some people to understand, but what I did do was I grabbed the team together, I shortened the KPIs, and we marketed the hell out of our business to try and help as many businesses as we want. And then from that, in return, what we've got is we've had some growth with our business. Now, I had two choices at that stage. One is follow the path of if I can say it, cutting back, or two, doing the opposite. Now, that's all about risk and strategic risk, and sometimes, you know, you roll the dice and it doesn't work. But we went down that path, and at the end, I think that ended up a good result. Isn't that right, Alison?
Yes, it is. Sorry,
Yeah.
good for mum even.
Yeah.
It was a good leader. You were a good leader at the time, so we just followed.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, you know, for yourselves, Michael, you guys did too, because one of the things that came out was, you know, for those clients that hadn't been up to date with their tax returns to try and get JobKeeper, you know, that ignited, I'm pretty sure, your phones at MKS Group. Is that right?
Oh, look, absolutely. And, you know, again, we're all sort of put in this environment. We sort of could have done the things that say, let's just cut back and do the obvious. I think with Mark's leadership as well, I mean, I remember he and I having this conversation about how we should tackle this. And to be honest, I was probably a little bit more nervous than he was. And his leadership was actually really good in that point in time to say, no, let's just hold and you know, let's just keep on keeping on. Now, clients were going through a number of different changes, and, you know, things that we did were, you know, we were doing things on the fly, new legislation that never would be released in a week's time. Announced 1 week, by the end of or by the start of the next week, it was live. That's, in my career, I've never seen that happen ever. And so we were on the front foot. So we were just trying to communicate to our clients all the time. As soon as that came out, we were releasing it. I even remember Mark and our team obliged, because they knew how important it was and the alignment was there, that we got everyone on a call at about 7 p.m. because some information had come out earlier that evening. And we said, right, how are we going to strategize? How are we going to do this? How are we going to break it up between the team and tackle it? So it was something that, you know, we had, was and still is, we need to keep in the foresight of our clients. And if I sort of look at that image on the screen, you know, we're probably in that growing phase as well, believe it or not. But we probably crossed into the changing and how to change things and how to do and get our team aligned, and also how do we help our clients. So, Colin, where do you see that you were sitting there at the moment?
Oh, definitely. Well, if I can say, you know, like, I do a hell of a lot of training, and that's all pretty much stopped. So our business, you know, took a massive dive in the training side of things, but the HR services picked up. So so if I sit back and have a look, you know, we were sustainable based on losing income in one area, but it picked up in another area, which is what's kept us in business. And again, you know, we marketed that really, really strong. And we put a hell of a lot of free downloads on our website, which has been absolutely fantastic, because, you know, that was a way for us to put out help, and then when they download it, it gave us the opportunity to follow up and do those calls. So right now, we've definitely we're doing both. Like you, we're growing and we're changing, and we've introduced other products into our mix, because that's what businesses have had to do during this pandemic. So I think, look, you know, we've always had the foresight of doing things such as the online training and stuff like that, but, you know, COVID has certainly pushed that, fast track that, and I think that's the pivot, which no one likes that word, but that's what we've had to do. But more importantly, you know, if we look at our clients, I think there's no question that we've done, and I know you guys have done, a hell of a lot of unbillable work, just being a soundboard to our clients out there who just want to vent. And I think that shows that you know, we care. And I think, you know, now as they're starting to pick up again, that's starting to pay off, definitely, for our business. Yeah, I
think Mark and I and the rest of our team have got a virtual couch that people have laid down, and warts and all, but which has been look, it's been helpful for them, and, you know, and even for us to understand some of the what's happening at the coalface with these particular clients.
Yeah. Okay. Beautiful. So Liam, if you go to the next slide for our audience, you know, we're going to put you in a breakout room in a sec, but I just really want you to, you know, think about, based on what I've discussed and Michael, what we've talked about is, does your business have good customer insight foresight? Now, think about, this is where we're in these times right now, and do you have good strategy? And that's something that, you know, Michael is going to go and take us through in the next session. But do you have good strategy? Like, you know, and one of the things that I want to know is it documented? You know, like, do you have a documented strategy that you can go to your team and say, this is it, this is where we're going, this is what we're doing? And does your business have that good collaboration where leaders empower staff? So they're empowering the team, saying, based on our strategy and based on our plan, this is what we're doing. So we'll put you in the chat room, and we'll give you 7 minutes, and then we might even pop into some of those chat rooms with you. And we'd love to hear some of the your thought processes on that. So this session is all about you. So let's use this exercise to open up a conversation and introduce yourself to people in the chat room that you as well. So you can do a bit of networking.